You save people on their worst day. Their house is on fire. Water could be coming through the ceiling, whatever it is. We go in and we save people, and we fell in love with it.
Yeah. Before we get into today's episode, if you want to get 2 weeks of Service MVP totally free, get the 2-week trial of our MVP Club. It's a new program that we're just starting out, and you get 2 weeks totally free, risk-free, cancel anytime that you want. It's going to include video content. It's going to include the audiobook. It's going to include a ton of stuff that's going to help your business grow like you would not believe. So if you want to get 2 weeks totally free, risk-free, cancel anytime, click the link in the description. We'll see you there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Service MVP podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Ethan Ralphs, and today we have an amazing guest, another one of our Total Immersion attendees. We have Liz here. Liz, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So, Liz, we were talking a little bit earlier about some of your experience and everything that you have sort of coming into this and what's led you to come into Total Immersion. Can you give us a little bit of background on that of your company, your story, and a little bit of how you got here?
Okay. So my name is Elizabeth Pratt, and I'm the owner of Paul Davis Restoration of Temecula Valley. We are just, I don't want to say just, but we're a franchise owner. There's 300 franchises nationwide. So we own the Temecula area in California. And we started in this, in the franchise about a little over 10 years ago. Before that, we owned a general contracting company. Mm-hmm. And my husband grew up in the trades. So it's kind of been an evolution of building different companies and then eventually ending up as a franchise owner.
So that's an interesting topic that we actually don't get a lot of people on the show who come in from the franchise perspective. We get a lot of owner-operators who, started from, something that wasn't, or they're taking over their parents' business or, all of that kind of stuff. Can you tell me about the special challenges that come when you're joining a franchise as opposed to starting up your own business? Because I know that there's challenges on both ends for that.
Right. I think when you buy a franchise, you assume it's like buying McDonald's. Someone's going to just give you the French fries and you put them in the basket and they come out of the basket and you put the salt on them and it's that easy and you just do the steps. But it's not that easy. You still have to train somebody to do the fries and to do the basket and order the fries. And there's so many moving parts to that you don't realize that happen behind the scenes. So even when you purchase a franchise, everything might be in place for you or you might be given the processes, but that doesn't mean you're executing them to the best that you can.
Exactly.
So we find a lot of franchise owners get frustrated. I hear that from a lot of the people I work with and other franchises. They get frustrated because they can't figure out why they can't grow or what's going wrong. And they're like, I'm following everything they told me to follow. But we don't always look at there's so many opportunities out there in other industries or other training or different processes out there that we can just put in place with what we currently have so we can get better.
Yeah, I'm actually a franchise owner myself. Okay. So I've got a couple of Sport Clips haircuts. Okay. And it's a lot of even though like we're talking about two completely different industries,
right.
It's a lot of the same stuff where there are those assumptions of, you just buy into this thing and okay, it's cookie cutter. And the other big assumption is people who buy in say that the brand name is going to I don't need to do anything extra. The brand name comes with all of the marketing and all of all that stuff. So it is like, especially there are those pitfalls there. So have you found that there are any like ways that you have kind of checked yourself and gone, okay, I'm not going to rest on the laurels of the, franchise above me. I'm going to go out and get my hands dirty and actually do this myself. What are some of those areas?
Right. Paul Davis is a great name. Like, as you know, Sports Clips is a great name.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they like you. So a customer can love the name, call you over or go see you, but that doesn't mean they like you personally or whoever's representing you.
Yeah.
So we have two sides of that coin. It's, yes, we have that name. That might get us in the door. But that doesn't mean they want to keep us there.
Yep.
So we have to keep improving and getting better and dealing with, all of those challenges behind the scenes just to keep that name good. You also have to represent that name.
Yeah.
So they've given you the name, but that doesn't mean that you represent it the best you can. So you have to build up that name as well, build up yourself. And I mean, we all do this. We drive across town sometimes to go to a different whatever name brand place because we like that one.
Yeah.
That one better than the one that's close to us. People do this all the time. Maybe they drive to Walmart in the town over because the Walmart near them isn't kept clean, whatever the thing may be. So just because we have a brand name doesn't mean that we automatically deserve that customer.
Yeah.
We still have to earn that customer.
It always still comes down to the customer care. And that's a huge part of it. So outside of, obviously we're doing total immersion here. You guys
Right.
just graduated. So I'm very happy about that. But outside of a total immersion, what have been some of the most successful ways that you guys have sort of branched out and said, you know what, I'm going to really, make the most of my experience. I'm really going to continue my education and I'm going to grow this business as much as it can. What have those been?
Well, one of our core values in our company is continuous improvement. So that's been a foundation for us. We've gone outside of our industry. We've gone outside of just to completely different networks and gone to training. I would say we constantly seek out information, read books, attend seminars. We love going to home service events.
Yeah.
Even it might be garage doors, it might be plumbing, it might be HVAC. There's a piece we can get from everything we go to. So we're not, I would say the biggest thing for us is we're not dead set that it has to be restoration industry. We have thought, why does it have to be restoration industry? Why do people in their industry, plumbing example, only go to plumbing events? There's so much you can learn from an HVAC event. There's so much you can learn from a garage door event or from whatever trade out there that you want to learn, or completely different industry. What if you went to a social media training event? Wow, what can you come away with if you spent 2 days learning social media?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
it would be amazing.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
we all have to just look outside the box and say, hey, why is my mindset so dead set that I have to be in this platform? Go outside your area.
Yeah.
Go
and
learn.
Talking about, going outside of your comfort zone, we were talking earlier about how you didn't start in the trades.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about your journey? Where did you start and how did you actually get into where you're at right now?
So I have a really long story, but I'll make it as short as possible. I was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years and raised 3 kids, and eventually ended up going back to work. I became a single mom, had to go back to work, had to feed my family. I did everything. So I waitressed, I did real estate, I worked in a bank. I mean, just any job I can get to pay the bills.
Really all over the place. That's impressive.
And I love social media. That's where I landed for a while. I did real
nice.
estate and social media together, and I would go do social media for other realtors. And eventually, when I married my husband, Eric, he was doing construction, and I started taking on his social media and doing the work for him. And eventually, just through the process, 2008, the market crashed, and there was no work. There was definitely no real estate, no construction, nothing. There was nothing out there. So we just kind of had to reinvent ourselves. And at that time, insurance work was available. And so it was what it was. And we just jumped into it. We had to feed the family, pay the bills. And I want to say we fell in love with it. You're like a superhero. You go in, you save people on their worst day. Their house is on fire. Water could be coming through the ceiling, whatever it is. We go in and we save people, and we fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And so eventually we just kind of went through that process, did it on our own for a while, and then said, you know what? If we're going to do this, let's go all in. And that's how we bought the franchise.
I love that. So, you talk about how there was that initial love where you jumped in and fell in love with it. I know a lot of people have like one of their initial customer stories where one of their first customers or however long down the line it was where they say, hey, I had this moment with a customer and it just clicked of, hey, this is why I'm doing this.
Right.
Did you have any of those moments? What was one of those first moments for you?
So we walk into so many experiences with people.
Yeah.
And some of the stories we can laugh about now or even cry about them now, but there's so many things you walk into. But you walk into people's homes, like I said, it's their worst day ever. I mean, I think about a lady who early on, she had a fire in her home and her husband had just passed away a few months earlier. And her cats were her life at the time. But when her house burned, her 8 cats died inside the home. And so all she cared about at that time was when we were cleaning the fire was seeing if we can find the bodies of the dead cats.
Yeah.
And she just really wanted, that was like all that mattered to her.
Yeah.
Find the bodies of the dead cats. And we're like, oh, really? Can't we just, it's kind of gross, throw them away, But that was her life at the time. So she wanted to show respect to these cats. So we spent that time, went through the property, found her pets, and were able to pull them aside so she can bury them and do what she wanted with them. And I think we found a chair of her husband's that she also wanted to set aside because that was like the chair he always sat in.
Yeah.
So things like that, we have those experiences, and you don't know that you're going to be moved by something. Mm-hmm. Like at first you kind of sit back and you're like, oh, really? That's what you're asking us to do? But then after you do it and you see the emotion behind people, you get really moved by that.
Yeah,
really
for
sticks with
sure.
you.
That's, I love that. And it's like, that's a powerful thing is you are stepping into people's lives and seeing, especially in that moment, it's, you know, you're having her sit there and admit, okay, my cats and this chair are the two most valuable things that I need.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a whole insight into her story and her backstory and what she values as a person. Were you seeing anything like that in previous jobs and previous work to any sort of the extent that you're seeing now?
You know, even when we did general contracting and so on, we'd be building a deck for a family, or it could just be something as simple as all new doors in their home, or doing a backsplash. You know, construction in general, and I would say even plumbing, heating and air. It's that joy of when you walk in, something's not working, something's not right, and you're just kind of, by the end of the day or by the end of the week, they're now happy because there's a result. And we're providing whatever that is. The house is cooler. They now have a deck to sit on. The wife comes home to see her kitchen, and it has backsplash now with under cabinet lighting.
Yeah.
And her eyes just light up like, oh, that's my dream. That's my vision. So you're taking somebody's whatever it is in their head, and you're actually making it happen. And sometimes it's a little thing. It's just the child sitting on the couch who gets excited because, you know, they now have the pink wall in the kid's bedroom or whatever it is. But every person on our team, from the person who answers the phone to the guy who's painting that pink wall, they all get to have that feeling when it's complete, and we can all celebrate that completion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did just mention your team, and I want to know when you are building a team and when you are, you know, trying to set yourself up for growth, what do you look for in a team? If you're doing interviews at any position, what are some of the key things that you're looking for as far as qualities for those hires?
I would say our most important foundation for our company, being emergency services, is sense of urgency. When we get a call, I tell the office all the time, the only answer is we're on our way. There's no other answer. There's no next week or next year. It's somebody's calling, they have an emergency, we're on our way. We'll figure everything else out after that point. Just let them know we're on our way. So sense of urgency is very important. Caring about our customers is very important. I always want to know where someone would like to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. Because if our company isn't building their future, they're not building our future. So it's really important to look at everybody's future and the big picture. Yeah.
What you said there struck me was we'll be there right away. And my mind immediately went into, oh man, as like when you're first starting out as a new company, I was thinking of all the logistics that have to go into making that phrase happen. What went into that, especially in the beginning, to be able to get to a point where, you know, in the beginning especially, I'm sure it comes up where those calls are made. And yeah, you can make a million excuses as to why we can't be there right now. But what kind of went into getting to that point where you're saying on every call, we'll be there right away?
From the beginning, we made that commitment that we're on our way. And I can tell you, we took many 2 a.m. phone calls with a car going through a building. We've been... My husband's been woken up. I mean, I take the call, so I get woken up first.
Yeah.
My phone's ringing next to my head, and it wakes you up, and you jump. And at first you're like, this is, you know, and the first thing that crosses your mind is, can I push this off till tomorrow?
Yeah.
Really? And then, a car's in the middle of their living room. I mean, we've gotten that call probably a dozen times where a car goes into someone's living room in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, the fire department's there, so by the time they get the car out and everything, it'll be 6, 7 a.m. We could wait. But really, who do they want to see in that moment? They're so upset. The fire department's there. The car's in the living room. I know my husband once had to back a car out of someone's driveway or out of the living room.
Wow.
Just to get it out of there because they were so upset. He's like, let's get this car out of here before this continues.
Yeah.
And you get there, and the most important thing, obviously, is everyone's safety. So is everyone okay? We arrived at a house one time where a brick from the fireplace flew into the back bedroom when a car went in, and the child was sleeping, and it landed literally a foot from that child.
That's scary.
So
yeah.
the family wasn't caring at that moment that the car was in the living room. They were caring that 1 foot away from hitting their child.
Yeah.
So if we're not the first one there, then who is really? Who? The fire department? Like, who's going to take it? Like, how do we care, on our end and show that we care if we're not the first one who arrives there?
Yeah.
So,
I love that. In situations like that you get into, I guess one question that I have is how on one end you have, complete stoic professionalism. And then on the other end you have showing up and you're their neighbor, you're their best friend. And, you can get too far into you start crying with them as they're, experiencing this stuff. How do you find a happy middle in there where you show up, you care, and you as a business are going to be doing right by your customers and showing up and having that empathy there without crossing any boundaries or being on the other end too stoic and professional and I'm going to get this done for you and too callous? How do you find that middle?
I think you just get to work. Really. It's just get to work. You're showing them you care by getting to work. We don't have time to stand around and necessarily, we want to hear the story, we want to help. Yeah. But we just have to get to work. And sometimes getting to work is just packing up somebody's laundry and taking it to the laundromat and getting it washed. Sometimes they can't walk into their home, it's falling apart, or there was a fire, and they just need their kids to have some clean clothes. Yeah. So sometimes it's just getting over there, packing up their laundry, getting to the laundromat. I've spent countless hours in laundromats myself. And we've shut down the office some days and forward all the phones to our cell phones. And we took over a laundromat. We've done it several times. 5 girls in the office standing in the laundromat washing clothes for a family.
That's amazing.
Because their house burned down a few days earlier and they need some laundry.
Yeah. How often, I mean, I don't think you can account for, you can't put into the playbook, okay, and now at this step, you go and you grab their laundry and you go and take it to the laundry. How often are you guys going off playbook in order to go the extra mile for customers? How often would you say you guys are doing that?
Well, you asked me earlier what we look for in a person when we hire them. And I think that is, now that you say that, that's what we look for. We look for, can I go off the playbook? Can I just say, okay, I care so much. I see this is what they need. Yeah. And can I just do it? Can we just say, hey, today they don't really need me sitting at the phone answering phone calls. I need to make sure that the kids have laundry. You know what? Let me go to the laundromat and do it. Wow. Just forward the office phone to me. I can get to that tomorrow. So that's what we look for. We look for the people who and who are creative. We've had situations where we've had to have a goldfish fed, and we have to remember we put it on someone's cell phone. Can you stop by that house each morning and give a little flakes to the goldfish? Yeah. So you never know.
I would have to imagine in those situations, it is another situation like the cats where something happens, a disaster happens, something where, okay, now I have to really figure out what are my priorities. My priority is no longer got to go get gas in the car so I can get to the office. Yeah. That's not the priority anymore. Now it's like breaking down. So do you feel kind of a, call it a kinship with everyone that you serve to where you are seeing, hey, their goldfish is their priority. Are you feeling that kind of connection with your customers?
Yeah. And I think people tell you, I mean, right away, they're concerned, oh, my grandmother's lamp was in the house and go searching for the lamp, or my husband was in the military and, oh, I really want that uniform. So people will pull it out. There's a photo somewhere that they need. Even with our very small jobs that might just be like a little mold in a bathroom. Yeah. They'll tell you their concern immediately. I need that shower working or whatever it is. Yeah. They tell you right away what the concern is.
Yeah. It's interesting because we just, obviously here in Culver City, I live over in Pasadena. We just had the fires over there. And so I was one of the people who was evacuated that night as the fires were coming over the hill. And is one thing that I still talk about, where there's this little stack of books that I have in a closet in the hallway. And it was books that my mom had read to me and my brother when we were little kids. Hadn't thought about them in years and years and years, probably even forgot that they were there. But as soon as the sirens start going and they're announcing, hey, this street needs to evacuate, you need to get out within the hour. All of a sudden I'm thinking about that stuff, and
Right.
okay, that needs to get in the car. You gotta, so it's really interesting that, you might not think about that lamp. You might not think about that goldfish,
Right.
as a central part of your life, but
Right.
you really switch things up as you go. Have you had any experiences in your life that have kind of required a similar, hey, I need to figure out priority list right now?
Well, so I have 5 kids. So my entire life is figuring out a priority list.
There's your priority 1 through
With,
5. Yeah.
With having 5 kids, having a business, all ages, kids go to different schools. So everything is always what's coming next and what's the priority list. So I think anyone who's been a mom will tell you, that's your priority list always falls with what do the kids need to have done, and then's work, and then this, and then church, and then so on. So, you're always juggling. Moms know how to juggle. So
That they do.
yeah.
How much of what you're doing right now and the work that you're doing, how much of that goes into building a legacy for your kids?
So, interesting story to share. My son started working for us because when we bought it, he was
Nice.
just finishing high school.
Yep.
So we'd get 2 a.m. calls to go deal with whatever it was. So who's the easiest person to wake up is my son
Yep.
down the hall, right? Instead of calling a technician and waking his family up, we'd walk down the hallway. My husband would
That's
go
great.
wake him up, throw him in the truck,
Yeah.
and then they'd go drive and do things. When he turned 18, we had him IICRC certified. So we
Nice.
sent him to all the classes. He got certified in water damage and structural, and he learned everything he needed to know. And we put him to work right away in the business. He was a technician for maybe a few years after that. And he said, I hate this thing, never want to do it. And he moved with some friends to Cleveland. So
Yeah.
moved all the way across the country, and eventually got married and had a baby. So my grandson's now 2. But throughout that process, one day he called and he said, do you think that Paul Davis over in Cleveland would talk to me? You think they have any positions open?
Yeah.
And so we told him, I'll go down and talk to him. And he actually went and talked to him and got the job. But
Amazing.
he refused to tell them that he was our son because he did not want to have any special treatment,
Yeah.
so he said. But I just thought it's funny that he ended up going back into the industry. And then about 3 years ago, my daughter also came to work for us.
That's amazing.
So it's truly building a family business now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You get into family business and you start to get frictions that come up. What has been like some of the greatest moments for you of like building more of a family connection for you with now your kids starting to join the business?
Anybody who works with family knows it's hard, or anybody who has a husband and wife business knows that's got to be one of the hardest things is
Yes.
you go to work with your husband all day, and you pretty much are never apart. So we wake up together, we go to work together, we come home together. So that's always going to be a challenge, but it's also, I couldn't imagine any other way. I couldn't imagine going to work somewhere and coming home at the end of the day and telling him about all my work gossip or whatever it is, you know? And then he's telling me about his work problems, and then there we whine together, what's nice about it is as a family, we can talk about building this and where the future's going. I find most people, when they talk about their day or whatever, is really just only the complaints, not where we're building and where we're going. So as a family, we get to build a business together. And eventually, either we sell it or one of the kids takes it on, or wherever it ends up, it ends up. But teaching them those experiences. But even my younger children, I have a daughter in high school and a daughter in middle school, we take them to all of our franchise conferences. We take them to the
Amazing.
events.
Yeah.
We take them to business meetings.
That's
so
great.
they sit through everything. So
Yeah.
whether they end up in the industry or not, hopefully they can take the foundation of building a business and use that in whatever field they end up going into.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned being a husband-wife business and kind of having that, power couple dynamic duo aspect of it there. What's one of the biggest lessons that you've learned over your time in just having that relationship and not letting business frustrations get in the way of family relationships? What's the biggest lesson that you've learned?
One of the things Eric and I do a lot, we call it the walk and talk. Like we have a lake near our house. We walk around the lake and we just talk.
Yeah.
We walk for an hour. We used to do it every single day. We haven't been consistent on that lately, but we used to just do the walk and talk every day, talk through what happened, figure out solutions. And that just kind of got everything off our chest for the day.
That's great.
Instead of like constantly getting frustrated with it. So
Yeah.
we do that a lot. And then also, I would just say just constantly working on where the future's going, discussing what's happening, not necessarily going so deep into everything. But we've kind of split it up that I'm in the office and he's in the field. So just that
nice.
boundary of like, if something happens in the field, he's going to go deal with that. I'm not going to be putting my boots on and going and hanging drywall. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So he can deal with that. And then if there's an office issue, phone calls and stuff, that'll fall under me.
Yeah, I love that. You mentioned the future. I want to know what you're seeing for the future of your business, future for all the things that you're currently working on. Let's say 5-10 years down the line, what are you looking forward to the most and where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
This industry is always changing. And I mean,
Yeah.
I would say all trades are always changing. There's always new things coming out and going on. And you just experienced all these fires here.
Yeah.
So that changed just Los Angeles alone, how restoration is going to be done in this area.
Yeah.
Because the way the insurance industry is handling all these claims. Insurance industry is always going to change. It's always going to, especially in California, as you know, it's been difficult for people to buy insurance. It's been difficult for people to get covered claims. So that's always going to change. But what's not going to change is us serving people. So whatever's covered by the insurance, whatever might not be covered by the insurance, either way, we're just there to help them with their property. And so for us, the big opportunity is that we don't only have to focus on what the coverage is. And that's what we got a lot here from being here with Joe Crisara this week, is we don't need to only focus on this is the insurance claim, but we can focus on everything that customer would want in their home.
Love that.
So we're there to serve their family. So if they need a whole kitchen, we can do an entire kitchen. We don't just have to fix the leaky faucet, right? We can actually fix the entire kitchen. And if we're there and they're like, hey, I really like that tile, let's do the bathroom too. We can go do the bathroom too. So that's where our future holds, is looking at the opportunity to help people with all of their solutions, not just what we were called there for.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to close it out. Last thing that we're going to end on is if we can get you to do a little plug for yourself and for your business. You can look at this camera right here. Just let everyone know where you guys are based out of, what services they can expect with you guys, and how they can get in contact with you.
Okay. So my company is Paul Davis Restoration of Temecula Valley. We service the Temecula, Murrieta, and probably within about an hour of us, North San Diego. So we do all fire, water, mold damage, as well as just home renovations and work to be done on your property.
Perfect. Do you guys have a website, a phone number that they'd be able to call you at?
We are temecula.pauldavis.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, Liz, thank you so much for joining me here today. It was a great conversation. And thank you all to everyone who is listening. We will see you all next time.